It is 55 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Ursula Royteen.
From Bothell to Ballard, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
You did it again, Ursula. You did it again to me.
I know.
I'm just fuming right now.
I'm just telling the news as it happens.
I have been running around, scrambling to put the show together. I had not heard this capital gains tax proposal.
Yeah, just got this story from Hannah Scott.
Okay. And I know. By the way, we're coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. So now you've got me where I got to start ad-libbing again, going off script of everything I just prepared. I know that an income tax is the holy grail of Democrats in our state. They will do anything to try to get an income tax, even though it is unconstitutional. The Washington State Constitution does not allow an income tax. That's been tested time and time again by the courts. I think the voters have had to say 7 times. It might be more than that. I don't know because I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, but the voters always say no to an income tax. Capital gains have been ruled by every court imaginable as income. In fact, you sent me scrambling with your lead story, Ursula. There are 7 states in the United States of America that do not have an income tax. Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Wyoming, and Washington. And guess what? Those are 7 of the 9 states that do not have a capital gains tax. Why? Because capital gains are income. Where do you report capital gains? On your federal tax return. As income. It is unconstitutional in Washington. And for the superintendent of public instruction it's for the children. For him to propose something that is flat out, patently unconstitutional in this state it's just horrible when our top politicians do stuff like this. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. And for him to toss it out as, something we got to do for the kids and to protect the schools in the future. Here in the Puget Sound area, a lot of people just got a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 property tax increase. Why? To fund the schools. And then they have the audacity to toss out something that is against the state constitution and that you look at all the other states. Every state that does not have an income tax does not have a capital gains tax. And I don't know and I'm guessing that they're just hoping the people are that people don't listen to my show. Although this show is the place where you get the truth about stuff like this. But when they just toss that out like something we can do, no, you can't. Not without a constitutional amendment here in Washington. And I think that's just another example of a politician assuming, hoping that the people are too stupid and that people like me won't catch it and won't tell you the absolute truth of it. You cannot have a capital gains tax in this state unless we change the state constitution. Period.
Okay, I'm just going to give. I have a few more details.
Why did you do this to me?
If I literally just got the story within a minute, I didn't even have a chance to talk to you as you were racing in. But
it's pretty good that I can go for 4 minutes not knowing I was going to talk about this.
Exactly. So I'm going to give you a couple more details. So the estimate apparently is that about 53,000 households would be impacted by the tax. Single filers who make more than $25,000 from capital gains annually, or couples who make over $50,000.
It's unconstitutional. Doesn't matter.
I'm just giving you the details.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, but you can't do it. You can't do it. It is against the state constitution. So, nice try. Way to try to sneak the puck past the goalie. What's his name? Chris Rakedahl?
Yes, I bet he would talk to you.
Can we get Chris Rakedahl on?
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and say sure.
Okay.
No, he's been very open about talking. I bet he would talk to you.
Okay. Well, I'll bump what we have at 12:30 if he'll come on with us, Nicole, because this infuriates me. And I'll be nice to him. I'll be nice. Tell him I'll be nice, even though I'm fired up right now. But you can't do it in Washington. And I know, like I said, it's the holy grail for Democrats in our state. They want to open the door a crack any way they can because an income tax is the ultimate goal here in Washington. We're paying more in taxes per capita, adjusted for inflation. We're paying more in taxes than any time in the history of Washington state. And then they toss out something that's unconstitutional so that they can tax people more. It's outrageous. Okay. With that as mere prelude, let's get to what I was planning to talk about in the big lead.
The big lead. Top story.
You know what? This would have been one of the days where I should have brought in the blood pressure cuff.
I know, because your face is all red now. I think you're breaking out into a sweat.
Well, you don't like it when I interrupt your newscast, and I understand that. When you started telling that story, I wanted to just start busting in.
I saw you. I'm trying to protect the news, because we always. Yes.
By the way, how about the restraint I'm showing? Out of respect to you.
Thank you.
And your wishes.
Thank you.
Yes. But, because everything else, I'm getting hand signals from Nicole. What a messy start to the show here. And what I was going to talk about in the big lead, what I am talking about now in the big lead, also has me awfully fired up. Because another story that our Hannah Scott has been reporting on is Seattle's looking at getting huge tents for homeless people. Because I guess Los Angeles is doing that. And Council Member Teresa Mosqueda, she said, yeah, we got to just get tents for everybody now.
We're tired of people thinking about it. You mentioned the word think, I think 3 times. We know that there's examples from other cities, and LA is a great example. And I don't mean to be disparaging, Director, but we don't have time to think about it anymore, especially when we have examples of other cities that have already looked at what's going on. Well,
LA is a great example. We just reported yesterday they have a typhus outbreak in Los Angeles because of fleas in their homeless population down there. So, yeah, let's follow the Los Angeles model, right?
I do think it's imperative for us to open these large shelters so that we can create beds to the hundreds.
Okay, so yeah, they say, okay, well, if they'll go into these huge tents that we buy them, then they might get used to having shelter, and then we can move them into something else. Okay. Nothing is going to change until we do something about the drug problem. King County and Snohomish County have legalized personal possession of drugs. It is an epidemic. The police are not arresting anybody for drugs. We aren't prosecuting people for drugs. We have become the magnet destination in the United States of America because of our attitude and approach to drugs. You want another example of that? In the Federal Way Police blotter, the Federal Way Police got a call about a runaway from Louisiana. Wow, our public officials tell us that they're all our neighbors, the kids that we grew up with who just fell on hard times. No, the people who are raping women, who are attempting to rape women, who are showing up in all of these homeless encampments, they are from out of state. So many of them, most of them. I'm sure it's over 50%, despite that phony study survey that the accused child rapist tried to peddle on us last year. Okay. Federal Way Police received a call from a female in Louisiana to report her adult son as missing. The mom said that her son is a known transient in Federal Way who is also known to abuse drugs. She stated that she had received a text last week from an unknown person who said that her son had overdosed in the woods and bushes in Federal Way and that no police or fire department were called or responded. The mom said her son regularly contacts her, but she's not heard from him in over a week. She's concerned for her son's welfare due to the recent text message. We are the magnet destination for drug addicts in the United States. And we can pop up all these spring-loaded tents that we want. But as I've said, you can spend $1 billion on housing for the homeless and get 5,000 people into shelter, but 6,000 addicts from around the country are going to come here to replace them. Because until we change our attitude and enforcement of drugs, we are not going to get any improvement. And spring-loaded tents. And then listen to this. Fred Podesta, with the he's the city navigation team chief, he said he doesn't think the drug addicts will want to go in these tents. But listen to what he calls the drug addicts.
We've heard a little bit in talking, actually mostly folks in San Diego, about whether there was kind of a level of being compelled to accept offers of shelter, in kind of an enforcement aspect, coupled with some of the bridge to housing strategies is my only point. And I don't think that's a policy choice we're going to make in Seattle.
Was the client thing in there? He calls them clients? Clients. I missed it if he said that.
There's multiple cats.
Yeah.
So
with Podesta. Oh, okay. Anyway, so here's another one with Podesta.
Seeing kind of our past uptake and acceptance of offers of shelter, I think we'd need to go carefully to think about, are people going to accept an enormous 150-person dormitory that's in one big tent? And so, we'd have to think about the design again, because we've seen different results with different kinds of offers. So before we get too bound up in the efficiency of a particular structure type, I think we really have to think about how our clients will react to it.
There it is. Our clients. The drug addict vagrants are the city's clients. The people who are coming from all around the country here are the clients. I mean, political speak it's amazing. It's amazing to listen to stuff like that we call the drug-addicted vagrants clients. So they don't think that they will accept, the clients won't accept it. So my point is, you can spring up all the giant tents you want, but you've created this problem because of our drug policies around here. You want another example of that? Up in Bothell, the mayor and the police chief, they say they want a massive property tax levy on Bothell residents. If you have $1 million house, which is not all unusual in Bothell, it'll cost you $440 a year extra on top of everything you're already paying. And they said that it's because they talked to Q13 News, and they said, yeah, we're struggling up here.
You have issues in Snohomish County with heroin, and you have issues with gangs and, heroin too. And we're kind of in the middle, and if we don't do something now, I worry about the future of the city from a public safety standpoint.
Yeah, the mayor up there said crime's getting worse and worse.
The crimes are here, and they're starting to increase, and they're becoming much more, brutal and intense crimes.
And they need a massive property tax increase in Bothell because of the homeless problem there.
Some of these issues speak for themselves. Last year, North Shore School District reported over 200 kids were facing housing insecurity of one type or another. They're couch surfing, sleeping in a car, or they're just outright homeless.
And that's the police captain, Mike Johnson, talking to Q13. So again, let's create a problem with our drug policies. Let's attract as many heroin addicts to the region, and then let's tell the taxpayers, well, we need hundreds of millions of dollars to build dormitory-style housing for the drug addicts. Up in Bothell, you need a massive property tax increase because, and they also make a fair point too. They said, look, our city's growing and our police force is not. But what they're citing is crime, homelessness. You create the problem as a government, and then you tax us to come up with the solution for the problem you've created. Do you want another example of that? Oh, I'm fired up today. I'm so fired up. In Seattle, Mayor Durkin is moving forward with the plan to toll all of downtown. And Uber, they want people out of the cars and jumping in their ride shares. So Uber is lobbying the city of Seattle heavily to have a massive toll to drive into downtown. Now, no city in the United States of America has this. There are a couple in Europe, including London, and on average, it's about $15 to drive into downtown. So what does our government do? Well, let's create the worst traffic imaginable. Let's take away lanes of road for cars, and we'll give it to the bicyclists who don't use them. Let's take the viaduct and shrink the capacity with the most expensive option to replace it, the tunnel. That's $1 billion over budget, or will be when the final numbers are announced. So let's reduce the capacity. No downtown exits from this tunnel. Let's build something way more inefficient than what we have, the viaduct. And then, after we've taken away car lanes for bicycles and reduce the capacity of the viaduct to 2/3 of what it was with the tunnel, the most expensive replacement, then let's tell the people, oh, traffic's so bad. We need a $15 toll if you're going to drive into Seattle. And let's say you're somebody who doesn't have the option of other means of transit. $75 a week, that's almost $4,000 a year in a tax for a problem they created. So this is what we're seeing all around here. You have, we create the drug crisis, and then we say, oh, and we need $1 billion to fix it. Up in Bothell, we need a massive property tax increase. We create the traffic problem. Give us $4,000 a year, and we'll let you still drive into Seattle. Hey, but let's keep voting for the Democrats because they are doing a great job with our region. And that is your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
There's something really scary going on at the University of Washington, where a student-created website would allow anonymous sexual assault allegations. Wait till you hear this story. Coming up next on the Dori Monson Show.
This hour of the Dori Monson